inspiration in your wellness journey. So hold on for just a couple of seconds. We are coming up. And I'm going to also watch us on Facebook, Bob. So if there's anyone, here we are. All right. Well, let us know where you're watching from. If you're watching live and replay, good afternoon, everyone. Nadia Touches here with Coaching by Nadia. I help you find balance in your health through transformation of nutrition, mindset, fitness, one habit at the time. And today I'm so privileged to have the first hero, I believe, of our hero
I always
series
wanted to be a hero, right?
by Coach and by Nadia, Bob Ferguson. So I'm just going to jump into asking all the questions that I want to cover. There seems like a lot, but we're going to try to make it short, sweet, straight to the point. The main question is, Bob, why are you looking 35 at your age? And you can reveal with us and share about you, introduce yourself to us.
Well, thank you, Nadia. And I'm sure that I would not pass for a 35-year-old, but you did tell me that I worked out like a 35-year-old. So we'll call that good. Now, I turned 70 this year, which is quite a concept for me. I said, yeah, that's what my grandfather does. But no, I managed to do it. I've lived long enough that I hit 70. So yeah, it's a big question of how do you, how you look is how you look, right? It's the outside. It's really how we feel on the inside, psychologically and physiologically, and also what we can do with our body. It's very interesting and a little disturbing to know that in the US, when people get into their 60s, a very, very substantial percentage of the people can't lift 10 pounds. They
Oh.
can't take a 10-pound bag of flour and lift it up. So that's a real problem in itself, because there are many things you want to lift up that are more than 10 pounds, but it's also a problem because it demonstrates, it's the degradation of the body that doesn't have to be there. So the main things that I pay attention to is, first of all, diet. That's the one thing that we have absolute control over, is diet. And part of my diet, there's two parts of my diet. Number one, the food that I eat. And I eat very carefully. I think it through. I decide what foods have the least amount of poisons in them, because you have to consider that. What foods have an optimal level of carbohydrate and protein and vitamins and minerals and fiber, and what foods taste good. So I want to eat them. And so all those things that I calculate, then, I've used a lot of nutritional supplementation since I was 22 years old. And there's really excellent evidence that, people who supplement at my level for long periods of time have dramatically better health. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Then the other thing that I have been doing all my life, but I really rediscovered in the last couple of years, and that is the value of strength training.
Hold on, I'm going to stop you.
Oh yeah, please,
Oh,
go right ahead.
you are what you eat. Talk about nutrition to us a little more. Talk about
Okay, very good.
supplementation.
All right.
What do you do for yourself, and what do you recommend us, regular people, to use for us to actually feel and look so good? The older
Okay.
we get, the better we feel. So tell us your secret. A little bit more
Yeah.
nutrition, please.
Okay, a couple of simple tips. Stay out of the center of a grocery store. Stay out of the center of a grocery store. Shop the aisle. Shop the perimeter. Because in the perimeter of the grocery store, you'll find fresh vegetables, fresh meats, that kind of thing. And many stores have a bulk section where you can get grains and beans and that kind of thing. Now, it's beyond my poor powers in a few minutes to tell you exactly what to eat, but basically, the healthiest diets are some kind of variant of the Mediterranean diet, or what is called the DASH diet, and we can provide some information on there. You basically want to have a diet that is primarily made from vegetables. If you have a strongly meat-based diet, you're going to be in trouble on a lot of different levels. Now, do I eat meat occasionally? Sure. Do I eat fish? Quite often. Do I eat my buddy Russ Concert's grass-fed beef every so often? But the basis of my diet is plant-based. Now, plants are very diverse, right? Plants are fruits, of all kinds. Plants are vegetables of all kinds. Plants are grains of all kinds. Plants are beans of all kinds. So there are many, many vegans, and they're my good friend, John Westerdahl, that keeps sending me information, research that shows that a well-constructed vegan diet is really incredibly healthy, incredibly healthy.
Yeah.
And both in terms of promoting health and reducing the potential for disease. And those two are allied, but not completely different, completely the same thing. So a diet that is rich in plant sources of protein, rich in fiber, rich in micronutrients, phytonutrients, protein, carbohydrates, basically all of the components that you need to build your cells. Because the way to think about your body is to think about a construction site for a house. If, let's say, you're going to frame a house up and you, unlike the Eagle Barn behind me, which actually has a straw bale, but if you have a regular house, you have studs and you make a wall. And the specifications are typically 6 inches on center, or 16 inches. Every 16 inches you have a stud. Now, if, let's say, in the construction, the truck drops studs, but there aren't enough of them, and you're on a schedule and you have to build the wall, you decide, well, 20 inches on center is okay, or 24 inches on center is okay. It's fine until the wind blows and the house falls down. It's the same thing with your body. We'll build cells, whether we have all the nutrients that we need or not, whether we have all the little micronutrients we need or not, whether we have the protein we need or not. The problem is they won't be very good cells. They'll be the equivalent of a wall with studs 24 inches on center, not a strong wall. So you want to think about that. And so you think of your diet in terms of what does your body need to construct good cells? Because the way you stay vital and healthy and happy and powerful and able to work out at age 70 is that you make really good cells. And you make good cells that make good cells that make good cells. If you don't eat the right things, and it's almost impossible to do that with a knife or fork. So I'm considering dietary supplements along with that to make sure that your cells never lack anything. Because if they do, the cell will be made anyway, and the cell will not function correctly. And you're much more likely to fall prey to some disease. So that's overall advice.
I'm typing also the general summary in the comments. Okay. So what I hear, it's almost like building a strong house for the nutrition. First of all, find what your body needs. Most like, well, our bodies need dense nutrients, foods. If you plant-based fiber, you mentioned all the micronutrients and minerals. And also if your body needs, most likely does, with our produce and stress, additional supplementation to support your strong cells that are multiplying. I think you mentioned every seven years, become a new person.
Yeah, I mean, the cells that turn over the least are every 7 years, but your skin cells every day and your blood and all that. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, your body, you're not a rock, you're a river. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yes, flowing all the time. And you mentioned the DASH diet. And by the way, staying away from the center of the grocery store, there is a book, you will be surprised. It's called The Power of Habit, that actually talks about why you just stay away from the center of the store based on how habitual our shopping behaviors are, to the point you always turn to the same, either right or left, when you walk into the grocery store. So when you read the book, it'll be interesting to discover. Okay, moving along, you started talking about strength training. So in a summary, give us the secret sauce of what's happening, why your massage therapist is telling you your bones are 40-year-old bones when you're 70. Tell us your secret.
Well, again, yeah, this is strictly from a layman's standpoint. And I have to thank you, Nadia, very much. You're a big piece of why and how I work out the way I do. But basically, as you grow up from your 20s into your 30s, 40s, if you don't do something specific to build your muscle, then you'll lose about 5% of your muscle mass, 5% or more of your muscle mass every decade. You can have a certain amount of muscle when you're in your 20s, you'll have 5% less in your 30s, 5% less in your 40s. Well, how many 5% can you do? If you keep losing 5% and you get in your 70s and 80s, that's when you become a little old lady or a little old man. My mom said, hey, I may be a lady and I may be old, but I'll never be a little old lady. And, so yeah, we literally become a little old lady because our bones, we don't stress our bones enough, and resistance exercise is incredibly important to get to calcium metabolism and bone health. If you don't stress your bones by squeezing your muscles, then your bones will, you tend more toward osteoporosis. So the main thing is your muscles and everything that's attached to them, the fascia and the ligaments, everything like that, is what holds your body together. So if you lose muscle and you lose that capacity to have your body be integrated, then you're likely to fall. At the very least, hey, you won't look very good. And then you won't be able to lift very much. You won't be able to get down on the ground easily and play with your grandkids when you get to my age. And you won't be able to go snowshoe through snow like one of your clients does at half my age. It becomes much, much more functional. You become much more functional. And specifically, you want to do resistance training where the muscles squeeze.
Okay, so I hear stress in the bones, stress in my muscles, so they can get the challenge, repair, restore. Tell us a little bit. You were starting to tell what we won't be able to do. I want to know what I need to do to be able to do all these things with age. Okay. What kind of workouts do you do? And out of what you do, because I'm also a fitness trainer, I know what you do, but out of your workouts, give us your wisdom of for the general population. What do we need to do with age to be able to do those things with grandchildren, house repairs, etc.?
Well, first of all, start very, very slow. Start where you are. If you haven't worked out for a long time, you're not going to go to the gym and pump iron. If you do, you'll hurt yourself. You'll do that once, so you'll say that, the heck with that. So what you do is you just start very, very gently, and you just start doing little things, maybe not get on the ground, that stress your muscles, that make your muscles squeeze and break down. Because when you break down your muscles, they build back stronger. You break them down, they build back stronger. That's the whole thing. So now what I do is that I do 2 strength training sessions with you a week where we focus on very specific muscle groups, but it's not simple things like not just doing curls. It's all kinds of compound body motions. Then I do 3 groups.
What is compound body motions? Tell us in your language. What does that mean?
Well, okay. So for instance, you might have me doing shoulder presses, right? But you might at the top have me push up, and then you might have me with my feet on the ground and put my butt up into a half plank while I'm doing that.
It's like when your body is...
No, you don't have a stretch on those.
Your full body is involved in the exercise, not just the bicep curl and nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. Not the things that you're involving a lot of. Now, then what we do with our strength and cardio group classes is really compound movements, lots of complex movements.
Complex.
But being on your hands and knees or in a plank and then raising one your right arm and your left leg and all that kind of stuff. But you get there gradually. You get there by standing in front of a chair and maybe holding onto the table and lowering your bottom to the chair or as close to the chair as you can get and standing up again. That's resistance training. The level of resistance training is depending on your level of fitness. But what's so much fun is that even if there's plenty of research that shows you can start in your 80s and 90s and you can build muscle. You can bring yourself back even in your 90s. Age is not a barrier. And so I would encourage anyone watching this to think, I'm not too old. I'll hit 50. 50, you're a spring chicken. 20 years younger than I am. Come on, let's get on the program. So yeah, you can do that. But plug for Nadia and people like her, get a trainer. I mean, you can hire her online for next to nothing. And you can do online classes and there she is. And you don't, or you can join us with our group classes, or you can hire her individually like I do to watch me. I love that. She's watching me the whole time and saying, no, 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 do this, do that. And I go, oh, okay, all right. I can't tell what I'm doing, right? But she can watch me and tell me what I'm doing. So it's been the most fun. It's just been so much fun and very rewarding in terms of, I can go out and I have a big compost pile. I can turn a massive compost pile with a pitchfork, and then I can go chop and hack and dig and everything. I can do that for 3 or 4 hours. I mean, I've lifted, you know, literally tons, by the time I finish, if I turn the compost pile one time. And I can do that, and the next morning I don't feel anything. But you have to be in shape to do that. So if you want to garden really well, you gotta work with someone like her.
Yeah, you gotta exercise. Okay, so for the exercise, what I got from you, I'm gonna steal that strengthen muscles and bones with resistant training and the complex movements, but start slow. Okay, we talked about the diet, we talked about the exercise. Okay, makes sense so far. Meditation, I'm actually looking at the notes that you provided to me before. What's the magic with meditation? Why meditation?
Well,
It's
all
really
kinds,
connected with me being 35 when I'm 70.
all kinds of meditation are good, but the kind that I practice, I will tell you, is from a scientific standpoint is quite superior. And what Nadia practices is called transcendental meditation. Transcendental meditation is a word, but it means a process that we're hardwired to do. You can learn to do it. And what it does is it allows your mind to spontaneously settle down in the same way you fall asleep, but you fall awake. In fact, one of the first people I ever taught was a little 12-year-old, I think in 1972 when I became a TM teacher. And I taught him, and he came out of his first experience. He looked at me and says, gee, Mr. Ferguson, this feels just like falling awake.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Wow.
so that wakeful hypometabolic state is crucial. Now, any kind of meditation will help the body settle down. Any kind of time you can settle the body down, everything becomes more orderly, right? Gas isn't as orderly as water. Water isn't as orderly as ice. And if you take ice down within a couple degrees of absolute zero and have an ice ring and put a electrical current in it, it'll go forever. It'll be in complete orderliness. So if we want our life to be more orderly, we need to make our life quieter. If we want to make our mind more orderly, we need to want to make our mind more quiet. And so that's really the third pillar of the things that I consider the three legs of the stool that I sit on for my health. Diet, resistance, and cardio, right? You have us raise, oh boy, in that half an hour, heartbeat's well above 150 for a good bit of time. And then this capacity to quiet the mind, not with effort, not thinking about quiet the mind, but using a technique which spontaneously allows the mind to settle down. And I've done that since I was 19. And each one of these things is foundational. Because if you have a three-legged stool and you take one of the legs away, lots of luck trying to sit on that thing. It's pretty wobbly.
So that's interesting to me. For, I will call it the mindset leg of a stool, you chose as the primary habit is actual practice. Sometimes we think about habits that is something I've got to change or be consistent. It's just the practice that you incorporate every day is meditation to quiet your mind, therefore quiet your life and bring it in order. Isn't it interesting? Like bring in order my mind with this particular meditation practice. So that's your
Well,
major approach and mindset, right?
there's a nice analogy. If you have a tree or a plant, and the plant, let's say I have a small tree in a pot. The tree isn't looking so good. It's wilting, the leaves are turning brown, everything like that. Well, you can take a splint and try to stick the branch up, or you can get your green paint and paint the leaf green, or do all kinds of things. Or you can just get your watering can, and maybe your watering can with a little fertilizer, and water the roots of the tree. if you water the roots of the tree, the whole tree flourishes. The leaves are green, the branches are fine, the fruit comes, everything comes in time, but you have to water the tree. And to me, doing TM twice a day is like watering the tree. I settle my mind down, and that provides a basis for quiet, settled, strong mind, quiet, settled, strong body. But if you do that, but you have a bad diet and you never exercise, you're not going to have the same advantage. Or if you do this and you have a great diet, but you don't exercise, you won't have the same advantage. You really need to move, eat properly, and quiet yourself properly, in my experience.
Okay, so you summarized what I was going to say. Okay, this is the way of water the roots of my tree. Final question.
Yes.
I get this a lot. What do I do when I don't feel like it? You know, this mornings you wake up and like, I just want to go back to bed. What do you do in those days? What is your secret?
It's a good thing. Well, frankly, between you and me, sometimes I go back to bed.
Hey, it's on Facebook.
Maybe one time out of 200, I'll go back to bed. 999 times out of 200, I'll get up. Why? Because I imagine what my life will be like if I take the next step. I don't worry about working out. I just worry about getting out of bed. Then I don't worry about going down and getting my lemon water and my tea and stuff like that. I just worry about going and brushing my teeth. Then, so I have a picture in my mind of how my morning routine goes. And I just do one step after the other, after the other, after the other. But I think out and plan, what does my morning look like? Get up, go to the bathroom, brush teeth, do my ear oil, all the crazy stuff that I do. Then I go down and I have my lemon water and my tea and my Vivix and whatnot. And then I come up and I do my daily gratitudes, which is a whole practice in itself. Then I work on my planner. Then I do my, we do our TM, and the point is that what I do in the morning might vary slightly depending on, but it's very, very rigid. It's rigid, so I am free. If you have a rigid schedule, which is flexible, right? The most rigid, if a tree is completely rigid, it'll fall down. It needs to be rigid and flexible at the same time. Hey, if something comes up, I'm not going to get all wiggy about not being able to do something that I normally do. But normally, I'll do this and this and this and this and this. And I know that I do that and will set my day up.
It's interesting. It's almost like when in my coaching sessions, we talk about, so what is your routine that is non-negotiable and negotiable? You're saying having a rigid but flexible schedule. So in the days when you don't feel like it, as Tanya Robbins says, don't like your emotion, change your emotion. If you don't feel like it, just get up and do it anyway. You've got a routine, you've got your schedule.
And with habit, it becomes extremely easy. They say, and I don't know who calculated this, but they say that an action that you do out of habit takes about 10% of the energy that an action that is not habituated. Well, I know that from, I'm a classical guitarist. And once I've overlearned a piece that is deep in my memory, I can just play it. Don't even think, I don't consciously think about it. When I'm trying to work out a brand new piece, sight read through it, oh my God.
Yeah, it's like the more you practice, the more it becomes your habit, and you just do it.
And you just do it. So if you want to have good habits, start mapping them out and then start doing them, and then resisting. A little bit of resistance doesn't hurt. When you get that resistance, I don't want to do it. Well, really? We said we'd want to do it. Oh, okay, I'll do it. And so you get yourself to do it. And the more days that you do that, the more it looks like you. And then it feels weird not to do it, right? In the beginning, it feels difficult and weird to do something. Once it becomes habitual, it feels weird not to do it. And so you tend to keep doing it because that's what you're used to. To me, and we've talked about this, the whole secret of success in life is setting yourself up with the right habits. That's why you say balance your life, develop your life one habit at a time.
Mhm. And the word comes to me, everything you say right now is accountability. Be accountable to yourself, have an accountability partner, have a coach to move you forward. Because sometimes you need someone to kick you in the butt to do that.
And
Okay,
someone who can
so
see you, someone who can see when I'm working out and I'm in the heat of trying to finish up a hard set, I can't tell what my body's doing. You can, although I
mhm,
say, hey,
mhm,
keep your shoulders down, right? Because I say, I don't like that. My shoulders end up on my ears. Or
mhm,
when I have a tennis coach and he's really good, he doesn't say, don't move your foot. He says, if I wiggle my left foot when I'm serving, he says, foot still,
mhm, mhm, mhm.
which gives me the picture. So we want some people in our life who will help us stay within the boundaries of the good habits so they get more ingrained and we get better results.
Okay, Bob. So I see that we are running out of time. Looks like the secret is not really so much a secret. So the secret sauce here, I'm looking at the summary, is look at your body as the foundation of the house. Is that right? Let's talk about the diet really first. You are what you eat. Dash diet, you shared with us. I put it in the comments. Stay away preferably from the center of the store, but overall, really look at your nutrition that is nutrient dense with minerals, nutrients, fiber, protein, preferably plant-based diet. Okay, with exercise, I like this. I'm going to steal that. Stress your bones and your muscles. Take it easy, start slow, include resistance training and the complex movements so you can actually be functional and enjoy life every day with your grandchildren, house, etc. And to quiet and order your mind is transcendental meditation, to bring your existence in order. And all those three pillars is like a three-legged stool you're sitting on. You don't dare to take one away. And in order to build that stool, you're really practicing this habit. Some days I heard 1 out of 200, you don't feel like it, you're going back to bed, giving yourself permission to do it. But you've got a structure, which is your own accountability, rigid but flexible schedule. So that's how you are 35 at 70. Is this our secret sauce? Any
At least
final
I feel
thoughts here?
35. At least I feel 35. Or my dear sainted mother would say, well, if I didn't pass a mirror, I have no idea what age I was.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's great to feel good and to feel actually better. I'm getting stronger. I'm not getting weaker. I'm getting stronger. And the more I work out, the stronger I get and the happier I get. And so, yeah.
Oh. Well, Bob, you're really a hero for all of us. We are looking up at you. We are watching you. We do want to do what you do. So we will be keeping watching you. It's been a joy and pleasure, and we'll be to be working with you, being your friend. Any final notes for us?
Now just resolve to enjoy life because life is really meant to enjoy. Life isn't suffering, life is joy. And it takes some work to make life a joy, but life is fundamentally a joy. Have you ever seen a cynical baby? Never. They're open to the world. We learn
Mhm.
to feel depression or that kind of thing. So we just want to tap into our nature. The nature of life is to grow. The fundamental of life is love. The nature of us as human beings is to connect with other people and be meaningful. That's why I love my eco barn so much. We have all these wonderful adventures, and we'll have them again, and just being together. So yeah, we could talk about a lot of other things, being involved socially and all that. But I think I've talked enough at least.
All right. Well, thank you, Bob. Again, it's been a privilege. Thank you for sharing your secrets and not so secrets of how to be, feel, look 35 at 70. And folks, if you still feel stuck and it feels like, oh, it's a lot of conversation to have, where do I start? Feel free to connect with Bob, connect with me. My website is coachingbynadia.com. I look forward to more heroes to come and share those stories. Bob, thank you.
My pleasure.
Bye bye, everyone.